the innocent girl unexpectedly fell in love with the heir of a band of thieves. Because even though he was a thief, he still held fast to the 3 rules of a chivalrous outlaw: no killing, no stealing from the poor, and no violating women. But the leader of the Kitsune thief gang did not allow his heir to fall in love. Yugoro had no choice. He could only say goodbye to the girl he loved on a moonlit night. And from that day on, they never saw each other again. Having no one to rely on, Masaru also once strayed onto the wrong path for survival and became a thief. But by coincidence, she eventually became an undercover agent for the Arson Thief Control Office. And on this very day, Masaru received news about the Kitsune thief gang and about Yugoro. It was said that the Kitsune thief gang had returned to Edo once again. Before every operation, they would leave the Kitsune thief gang's mark on the target's home. Then the entire gang would move in. They wouldn't just empty out the target's property, they would even kill everyone inside. Through such brutal methods, the Kitsune thief gang had become the most powerful group of thieves in the region. But soon they drew the attention of Onihei, the chief of the Arson Thief Control Office. Onihei sought out Masaru to learn more, but Masaru firmly told Onihei that this could never have been the work of the real Kitsune thief gang, because the Kitsune thief gang she once knew, under the old leader, always followed the 3 chivalrous rules. And even though the old leader had passed away, the current leader Yugoro would follow them even more strictly. But Onihei simply said quietly, "People's hearts change the easiest." Masaru suddenly remembered that the old leader had 2 sons, the elder son Yugoro, and the younger son Bunkichi. Masaru realized that everything might have been done by Bunkichi. Hearing this, Onihei assigned the investigation to Masaru. She would be the one to prove the innocence of the man she once loved. For the sake of Yugoro's innocence, she investigated non-stop for several days. At last, she found a clue. One of her former thief companions told Masaru that he had witnessed the old leader pass the position of leader to Yugoro back then. And just a few days ago, he also saw Yugoro arrive in the city with his own eyes. He believed the recent major crimes were Yugoro's doing. Masaru had no choice but to pass this information to a constable working under Onihei. But even now she still refused to believe those crimes were committed by Yugoro. She begged them not to harm him when they moved in to arrest him. But the constable told her that time is the most frightening thing of all. It can change a person completely. After the constable left, Masaru slipped a small note to her former companion. She told him that if he ran into Yugoro, he should send him to the address written on the note to meet her. But she didn't realize that a woman in yellow clothing hiding in the corner had heard everything. That very night, a group of people found Masaru's residence. Having once been a thief, Masaru sensed danger and fled immediately. But she didn't get far before she was struck down. And at that moment, a man slowly walked out. Masaru recognized him. He was Bunkichi, Yugoro's younger brother. But Bunkichi questioned her about Yugoro's whereabouts. Just then, Yugoro suddenly dropped down from above. Masaru finally saw Yugoro again, though not at all in the way she expected. Bunkichi and his men approached aggressively, ready to attack them both. In the moment of crisis, shouts of fire echoed behind them. People rushed out from their homes to check the alley. Seeing the situation turn against him, Bunkichi had no choice but to retreat for now. Masaru finally had a moment alone with Yugoro. From Yugoro's own mouth, she finally learned the truth. It turned out, the recent crimes were indeed committed under the name of the Kitsune thief gang, but the one leading them was Bunkichi. After the old leader died, he had passed the role of leader to Yugoro. From then on, Yugoro had upheld his father's principles. He never robbed the poor and never killed anyone. He even reduced the gang's actions to once a year. All of this infuriated Bunkichi. He believed Yugoro was unfit to be leader. So one night, Bunkichi gathered a group of followers, formed a new Kitsune thief gang, and began committing murder, robbery, and countless crimes. And now he wanted to eliminate Yugoro completely and take his place. Hearing this, Masaru's face finally showed a relieved smile. But when she learned that Yugoro had come here, specifically to deal with Bunkichi himself, her heart couldn't help but fill with worry. When Yugoro located Bunkichi, Masaru insisted on going with him. Yugoro asked her to stay outside. Then he charged into the room alone. Yugoro held a dagger above Bunkichi's head. As long as Bunkichi was willing to repent, Yugoro would spare him. But Bunkichi told him that times had changed. Money was all that mattered now. What Yugoro didn't know was that Bankichi had another reason for wanting him dead. Bankichi loved Masaru too. But Masaru had chosen Yugoro. Suddenly, Bankichi kicked Yugoro away. His men seized Masaru, and everything was overheard by the constable waiting outside the door. He had followed Masaru all the way there. Soon, Onihei arrived with his men. In just a few rounds, the thieves were subdued by Onihei's group. Only Bankichi managed to escape in the chaos, but Yugoro still caught up to him. Unexpectedly, Bankichi's tone changed completely. He begged Yugoro to spare him. He said he was willing to change. Hearing this, Yugoro hesitated for a moment. After all, they were brothers. But he knew Bankichi's nature all too well. In the end, Bankichi did not repent. He died in his older brother's arms. At that moment, Onihei arrived as well. Masaru lied and said Yugoro was just a passerby who stepped in to help. But sharp as he was, Onihei already understood everything. Still, in the end, he accepted the story that Yugoro was simply a bystander. Masaru finally breathed a sigh of relief. But none of them expected that 3 months after Yugoro left, Onihei would suddenly bring news about him. He had contracted a plague in Kyoto and died suddenly, and his final words were that he wished for Masaru to find happiness of her own. Yugoro's final message contained no flowery affection, just a simple blessing, yet every word pierced Masaru's heart. Ottomatsu had lived with his mother ever since he was a child. But not long after, his mother married another man. Every time his stepfather got drunk, he would beat and yell at Ottomatsu. Back then, Ottomatsu wished desperately for someone to save him. But the neighbors all looked the other way. Even his own mother didn't try to stop his stepfather. Yet even so, the stepfather's anger didn't fade. He grabbed Ottomatsu's mother and beat her viciously. Ottomatsu finally reached his breaking point. He grabbed a broken wooden stick and drove it straight into his stepfather's body. The only thought in his mind was to take his mother and escape this hellish life. But instead she screamed at him, calling him a murderer. She said she should never have given birth to him. Only then did Ottomatsu realize that his mother had always seen him as nothing but a burden. In her eyes, everything about their miserable life was his fault. His stepfather's beatings, no matter how painful, were something Ottomatsu could endure. But those words from his mother shattered him completely. So Ottomatsu left home without hesitation. In order to survive, he became a thief. The crimes he committed grew bigger and bigger, and soon he caught the attention of the Arson Thief Control Office. A few days later, Ottomatsu was captured, but he was extremely good at talking his way out of trouble. And without solid evidence, the constables couldn't convict him. All they could do was lock him in a cell for now. But when Onihei saw Ottomatsu, he frowned for a moment. He had seen Ottomatsu long ago. The scar on the boy's face had left a deep impression on him. Back then, Ottomatsu was still just a kid. When Onihei ran into him, Ottomatsu was betting with a pottery shop owner, betting whether he could lift 2 jars filled with water. The shop owner was sure the boy couldn't. But unexpectedly, Ottomatsu picked up a rock and smashed both jars to pieces. That way, he could easily lift the 2 jars. The crowd watching praised Ottomatsu's cleverness. They said he would surely accomplish great things one day. But only Onihei noticed the old wound on Ottomatsu's face, one that only long-term abuse could have caused. Curious, Onihei followed him. He followed the boy all the way home and witnessed the stepfather beating him brutally. Onihei couldn't stand it. He punched the man to the ground. Then he forced him to swear he'd never lay a hand on Ottomatsu again. Cornered, the man reluctantly agreed. After that, Onihei told Ottomatsu that if anything ever happened, he could come find him. The usually sharp-tongued Ottomatsu was speechless for once, and in the end, he simply whispered, "Thank you." Now Onihei couldn't understand how that little boy had turned into the man he saw today. But Ottomatsu told him that everything was Onihei's fault. After Onihei punished the stepfather, the man did stop beating him for a short while. But a few days later, he started again. Even worse than before. Ottomatsu tried to seek Onihei's help, but the guards at the gate saw his ragged clothes and drove him away. At that moment, his last hope vanished completely. And when the stepfather learned that he had gone to see Onihei, he grew even more furious. He even beat Ottomatsu's mother as well. All the darkness before, Ottomatsu could endure. But Onihei's appearance had given him a glimpse of hope, and the despair that followed after losing that hope was unbearable. So he blamed everything on Onihei. Now he didn't want to say anything. He only wanted Onihei to sentence him to death. But Onihei said nothing. He simply ordered for Ottomatsu to be kept in the cell for now. He wanted to find a way to set the boy on the right path again. Because after all, Ottomatsu was just a pitiful child. But at that moment, Ottomatsu saw Onihei's daughter, Ojin, and from the constables he learned that Ojin was not Onihei's biological daughter. She was the daughter of a thief who had died. Onihei had adopted her. Hearing this, a twisted idea formed in Ottomatsu's mind. In the cell, Ottomatsu approached the guard. He said he was willing to confess everything, but only if he could see Ojin. The guard, eager to earn credit, agreed. So he secretly led Ottomatsu behind Ojin. But Ottomatsu suddenly shouted at her, "Onihei is not your real father. Your real father was a thief." Having endured a tragic childhood himself, Ottomatsu believed that all adoptive fathers disliked their adopted children. Telling Ojin this truth was his revenge on Onihei. But Onihei wasn't upset. As Ojin grew up, she would eventually learn the truth anyway. What Onihei could do was be the best father he could, and make sure Ojin would never become another Ottomatsu. But Ottomatsu's words truly shook Ojin. She left home alone. Onihei had no choice but to send all his men to search for her. But even by sunset, there was still no sign of Ojin. Onihei suddenly imagined the worst. He rushed to the riverside, and sure enough, he found Ojin drowning in the water. Fortunately, Onihei arrived just in time. He pulled her out and saved her life. It turned out that Ojin only wanted to catch his favorite fish for him. Because she wasn't his biological daughter, she thought that if she could catch the fish, maybe he would be happier with her. But she had forgotten that Onihei had always cherished her as if she were his own. Ojin was unlucky to have lost her real father, but she was incredibly lucky to meet Onihei, who loved her even more. When Ottomatsu learned what happened, tears quietly streamed down his face. Onihei understood what those tears meant. He too felt regret. If someone like Onihei had appeared in Ottomatsu's life earlier, he might never have gone down this dark path. In the end, Ottomatsu confessed to all his crimes, and Onihei took the chance to wipe out the entire thief gang. Because Ottomatsu had made amends with meritorious service, Onihei wanted to give him a chance to live. But Ottomatsu refused. Onihei asked him if he had any final wish. Ottomatsu, embarrassed, said he wanted to hug Onihei. He expected Onihei to refuse. But instead, Onihei pulled him into an embrace, like a father holding his son. And in that moment, Ottomatsu finally felt a father's warmth. But it came far too late. Ottomatsu had done many terrible things, but in his final moments, he received a father's embrace. Some warmth may arrive late in life, but even if it comes half a lifetime too late, it can still thaw a frozen heart.